There's a couple items that I think we should talk more about. The one that there's a handful of people who sell it, and when they sell it, we sell it in volume. But it's the 10-pound box of whiting. It's in a retail-friendly box, and it's ultimately the same as the 5-pound bag in a 10-pound box. There's not really a new recipe. They actually just made new bags for their product. This is the new bag, but the whiting itself is one size, so therefore it's. But we have now food service guys that are starting to use this product. It's a lot cheaper than the Argentine product, and it's a good cash and carry item. So guys are selling like restaurant suppliers. You know, it's something that they could have that's manageable because we're selling this product. It's $22 a case or so is what our selling price is today. And then when you ask them for the same product, this is $66. And it's just good for that reason. There's a couple different tilapias. They do a 3-pound and a 1-pound bag. I think I'm going to get them to do a 2-pound bag. But we're working with their buyer on that. They have an 8-ounce breaded shrimp tray, which is one of their better products. We don't do much business with it, and for us, it has to do, I think, really with we have it sold by the case. It doesn't work very well by the pound. It sounds a lot scarier than it is. So we're selling these. I think it's $3.50 a tray. That's not.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, and that gives a $5.99 retail. There's also a coconut that might be hiding up here somewhere.
Is that cooked or is it?
It is pre-cooked, so it's
Pre-fried.
fried. So you just have to bake it up.
You bake it up, okay,
Mhm.
cool.
And-
Let's see if I could just add something to this. On this particular item, before COVID, this retailers were able to retail this at $2.99 or $3.99. It really took off. We had a problem with COVID that came in that it took our freight costs from $3,000 a container to $20,000 plus a container. So it all gets added to the cost of goods. This is a lightweight item. So this gets burdened with even more freight cost because of the container, instead of being 30,000 to 40,000 pounds, is only 20,000 pounds. That's going to change. We're working right now to get better costing on this site and bring it back. But I'll tell you, this was for a while my #1 item that I was selling. I generally sell up down the East Coast in the Midwest. It's kind of where my main customer base is. So I told Steve a while ago, I said, I think this is an opportunity that we're just not selling what I'm seeing being sold across my other customers. And some of them are in Baltimore, for instance. That guy just kills it there. So I think it's an item. It's almost a front page item for the holiday season. And you can get it $2.99, $3.99 retail, which is very attractive. So
I want to touch on both things Steve just mentioned there. So packaging number one, because I know that your customers get very used to visual, right, and to the door. And when there's a small, minute change, right, first thing is resistance. So we want to make sure you guys are fully aware that this will be the new look, okay, of the packaging. So as we transition and you flush out a product, right, but the product is still the same, it's the same company, the same standards, everything, okay? From point of view of quality, of course, we vet everything through certifications, proper certifications in shrimp or in farm-raised species. You're going to have BAP, which is best aquaculture practices and all that. So from that aspect, it's sustainable and great quality product. And you guys have done an absolutely great job with it. The company really was built out of the value, and Bill speaks to this extremely well, right? The founder of the company, who's a good friend of ours and still in our team, George Carter, he had this vision over 30 years ago of delivering a great white protein to the table at a value, okay? And whiting really is what he built the company around, okay? This is still our bread and butter, so be confident in selling it, okay? Is the price of whiting, as the pandemic happened and all of the stuff that happened with supply chain, it stayed very steady. We have over 3 different countries that we source whiting from. So having an issue with supply is almost non-existent with this. So when you're looking at, I grew up being a salesman, right? So the first thing I want to do is have confidence that I can have inventory of what I'm going to sell, right? And this is one that for sure, the pipeline is always coming in with the product. So that's, I just wanted to add those 2 points to it. And you can tell because the logo just changed, the font of the logo changed.
It's a nice upgrade.
Yeah.
It really is.
So
I'm getting no pushback, honestly.
not at all, not at all. Now,
Can I add just a couple quick things?
Yeah, go ahead.
Luis, speaking about what I meant to tell you earlier, is when you're selling this product and who we're focused at, who the customer is, I mean, you may or may not realize this, but if you think about it, the consumer that shops the full-service seafood counter, that's buying fresh fish off the ice, that is not our customer. Our customer is more the blue-collar, run-of-the-mill consumer, housewife that's on a tight budget, that is looking for value. And that's where this fish, that's where this really works. I wouldn't buy this product line myself. I buy fresh fish. I know too much. I'm a foodie kind of a guy, so I get it. But this is really designed for, that consumer that is looking for value. And a couple things I learned that I didn't know that I'll just share with you. Maybe you already know it, but I didn't realize how much cold tilapia could sell, for example. And I always thought it was just an Asian type of an item, but it's really a Hispanic item, and maybe you know, but they use it in the summertime for the grill. This is a huge summertime selling item. That was one of the learnings I had over the years with that particular item. And also you may remember me trying to sell this product at a food show without actually having the product, and we sold a bunch, remember that? So
You did a pre-order
our samples
at a
didn't come
food
in.
show.
So I had to kind of like explain the item with my computer and show you what it was, but this is another just absolute home run item. I don't know if every one of your customers can take this on. This sells like crazy. So I just wanted to add that.
Yeah. No, to Bill's point, value, okay? So that means that Great Fish is not gonna have as many items on the line. Now that you guys have access to, like I said before, to the entire portfolio of the company, right? When you go to Panama and you go through that catalog, or you're tonight kind of curious or whatever, if you're ever curious and you go to quirchfoods.com.
Check it out.
And you can always go, in our website, you go to the brochures tab, okay? And it will give you every brochure. So if you could download that, or even on your phone. Let's say your customer's looking for something. On your phone it works, okay? But when you see Panama, which is the whole tilapia over there, right? That line is a lot wider, okay? So examples, like for example, a customer says, hey, do they do grouper, or can you get grouper? Snapper, which is in the Caribbean. I'm from Puerto Rico, so that's, I didn't know any other fish other than snapper when I was growing up. So it was a chillo, right? So that item, those items, we have them in the Panama line because they're a little bit more niche, more focused on a specific consumer base.
Just letting you know, this product is in your book right now. It's the 12 by 20 ounce is the way it's regarded, because there's 12 units in the box and each one's 20 ounces. Unfortunately, because of that math, it's not a 10 by 1 pound or a 10 by 2 pound bag. It gets a little funny when you start talking about unit price. So that's why we have a case price, so that you can divide out the cost rather easily. If we, for some reason, in the seafood department, when we give you case price things, it doesn't sell as well as if it's a price per pound. And I think it's that when you offer a customer maybe it's $65, or you might feel that it's too expensive. The reality is the other one's $65 too. It's actually all the same price. It's just how you're packaging it, whether it's a 1 pound, 2 pound, or a 1.25 pound bag. Personally, this is probably the better choice. It's a whole fillet as opposed to a bunch of cuts. So.
And Bill, can you about that salt and pulp there? And just because we're talking seafood, specifically for those who have a good Hispanic base of customers, we call it bacalao, right? But it's salted pollock, right? Great value. We are, because of the nature of our business, we are the nation's #1 importer of salted pollock. into the country. And this, if anybody, I can show you pictures from sets down south where we have doors of just this item in different sizes. So salted pollock also is a big seller for the company as well. So, and it goes from 12 ounce to we have a 5 pound bag as well. Cover every segment in between.
So guys, I just wanted to show you what this stuff looks like. I know I talk about it all the time, almost every week. Been bringing in this stuff for the last couple of years. Some people are starting to catch on, it's great. And this is an item that I just started bringing in maybe less than a year ago. I kept on seeing, you know, Restaurant Depot with 10-pound boxes of Dungeness, and I wanted to compete with that. I never had these in my past life of other seafood companies, so it was always a 25-pound case or a 20-pound case. So I was able to find a supplier to work with us on these. Now the first shot that we got in, they were printed boxes. Obviously they haven't had any, but I just thought that just having a 10-pound box would be nice enough even without it. Now moving forward, I plan on trying to get more of the printed boxes just so you can see them. These are Dungeness crabs. I mean, you can see them, what they look like. I mean, you can see this is called a soldier pack, and that's all I'll ever buy. So it's much easier than buying a 25-pound case. You know, certain people prefer them over snow crab. They say they're sweeter. It's just a preference, you know, Dungeness crab, snow crab. And
Just give me 1 second. Just because you threw out the word soldier pack, what that means is that they're
they're
all
all
lined
packed
up
in a row, and that's why they look like the way they do. They do have a label, so it's not like they don't have anything on here, but they do have a label that tells you the land species name, the pack size, and that weight, you know, when they were caught, who they were caught by, and so on. So all the stuff is there. So again, we have these both in a 10 and a 25-pound case. Okay, so now the snow crab. Now the snow crab, this is called Opelio. Now, some people might ask you, you know, do you carry Opelio? Well, that's what this is, okay? There are different types of species of snow crab. There's bear dye. I don't want to get into it too much. I don't want to confuse you. So let's just stick with the one which is Opelio. This is the 10-pound box. This is the one that Royal Greenland produces. I bought almost a truckload a couple weeks ago. We sold a nice shot of them already. We bought them at the right level. You know, they bend the legs this way. If they put the legs all across, they can't fit them all because it's only a 10-pound box, and then they will be broken. So we try to avoid having any broken, because when people see broken product, they don't want it. Okay, so again, in this type of product, this is from Greenland, even though it's Royal Greenland, it is Greenland product. It is a wild caught item. We carry these in a 10-pound box, and then they do have 30-pound cases, but they're from Canada. So Canadian season just got started. We have product from Canada, so we have both. If you put them side by side, the crab looks the same, but it just depends on the processor. Whoever processed them, whether they're cleaner, you know, not as clean, because they have to take barnacles off of them. They have to, you know, when they cut these up, this is actually half the body. You know, think about a big crab. They have to cut it and they have to clean it. So when they take the body out, and there's fat, there's all kind of stuff in there. And the more they clean it, the better they look. And sometimes, you know, even though some may have a brighter shell, it doesn't mean that it's a better product. It may look nicer, but it doesn't mean it's a better product. All right, so I don't know if you guys had a chance to look at these. This is what they look like. Okay, and in the 30-pound case, you'd probably kind of get a better idea of what the crab looks like. But now you know what they look like. You're welcome to take pictures of it. If a customer asks, do you have pictures? I mean, I always have them, some type of picture in stock, but now that you see them, you know, you can take pictures.
The other thing to know about the Opelio, to make it easier, even easier for you, we want you to get used to the word, but it's the good one. The other ones are all fake versions of Opelio for most of our customers. So we have the good one. You don't have to worry about, is the guy gonna like it? Yes.
Any questions?
So, and I would just encourage you, it's a lot warmer in here than it is in the freezer. Take your pictures before you go, because this way you can show when you're, you know, especially like Louis, you're out on the road, it's gotta be much harder for you to try to explain this stuff. Take all the pictures now, and then you have them.
Luis, just quickly,
Yes.
I walked in a little bit late before you. Did you touch base on the other?
No, we're going there next.
Okay, great.
Yeah, we're gonna go there next, so, ready?
Yep.
Okay, so let's talk about, I'm gonna cover Mambo first, right? But I was gonna ask, I was just thinking about this, do you have like three, like disposable plates?
Sure.
Because this product we can, you know, there's one that we can.
Behind you.
Oh, right behind you, oh, right there, right there.
Or they
So here we go.
have- I think they're like.
Those are
I think
those
they're
built.
like chips.
Yeah,
Chips, okay.
without touching them, just, can you open those bags and keep them?
Yeah,
and then-
I was gonna say,
Yeah,
those are
let's,
nice packages, like
because this is the only
frozen
product that we can taste right well, let's.
I think they're like platanute. Yeah, that's what, I thought they were frozen first.
So, when I gave you the kind of a little briefing on the company, right? Mambo is, for some people, if you go back and start looking in the internet and stuff like that, this was the old Quirch brand, okay? So this was branded under Quirch, which is our founder's last name. When the company transitioned, we transitioned the name from Quirch to Mambo, and this is our prepared Hispanic foods, vegetable line that Mr. David Abadin has the pleasure of leading that team, okay? So Mambo really grew out of us going to different popular restaurants and tasting product and then starting to produce that in-house. So what I did is I brought the best sellers, okay?
In
Okay,
fairness,
this is,
for packing outside of their frozen box, you got a little.
yeah, so those are yuca, which is cassava, okay? So first, let's talk about the snacks, okay? They don't look so great because they've traveled. They don't usually travel, they travel back. We put them in a FedEx box. But the crisp line is actually product of Ecuador, okay? These are plantains. So anybody knows that I don't like to use the word anymore, it's a Hispanic item. This is an on-trend item, okay? Everybody that has visited, you know, any type of Hispanic restaurant has had a tostón, which a tostón is actual green plantain, fried, right? So twice fried. And so what is different about these are not, how many people here have, I saw a few of you have like Puerto Rican, Dominican, you know. So these are called platanutres in our countries, okay? But these are not chips. These are actually a thicker cut. So it's more like a tostón, okay? And the difference is that when you buy them at the store, you will be able to use this as an ingredient on a plate. So for example, you could do a little ceviche with whiting, okay? So to cross, you know, on the bowl or guacamole, do guacamole or something like that, all right? This line is the little, I call it the little engine that could, okay? Just to give you some perspective. You guys have heard of Publix supermarkets down in Florida? Okay. Publix, this is their #1 snack in the produce department for the entire chain.
Wow.
This is a multi-million-dollar business at one customer.
Funny enough, I was in a Publix probably 4 or 5 days ago. It's been the same price for 5 years.
Yes.
So like an inflation buster, it's been the same price. We haven't changed price for 5 years.
And this is not 99 cents.
No.
This is, it
What is it?
retails at $3.50.
Yeah.
So want to talk about building, you know, a nice added item to your business, okay? But #1, and you know, so I'm very fortunate because I get to travel, and there are three cities. You know, you heard I'm from Puerto Rico, but I came from Puerto Rico I grew up down the street about 45 minutes south in Wilmington, and my mother and brother are still there, and then Miami, Florida, of course. So those 3 cities are here. You know that, you know, the customer base, when they find these things, they can't find them in the national retailers. So what do? They keep on going back to that independent to buy these things, okay? So this is a great little item. It's under the Mambo brand. It's in 3 flavors. We have the cassava, the yuca. Go ahead.
That's a dry item, right?
Dry item.
Will it hold up in a chilled environment?
It does.
Storage?
For delivery.
Refrigerated warehouse?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean,
That's
I
how
would
we
leave it there
deliver.
for 6 months,
Right,
but,
a couple weeks or a
I
month.
mean, we turn that faster than we can invoice it. Put it that way.
And Dennis, you know what I will do before we do, if we ever go down this route, Victor Garrido is our Director of Quality Assurance, and he is super, super good. He's been with our company for a long time. We'll do a test for you,
Yeah.
okay?
I think we've
And-
already done it, so we can just send the documentation.
Exactly, because we have the documentation and certification from our quality team,
And
okay?
now that it's cool, it's like, I call it like the white F-150 effect. You see the new F-150 comes out, all of a sudden, everybody's got an F-150.
Yeah,
That's in every Wawa, in every grocery store, and everything that sells food, somebody's got some sort of plantain chip in there. They're everywhere, and there's 10 different brands. So we can be, and this is something that comes in container loads, we could deliver it here, and you make $1 a unit on it, and it flies. I mean, flies. We sell, I don't even know, I think we
Yeah.
move 7,000 cases a week of that
Yeah.
stuff, and that's one customer.
yeah. We're shipping containers of this stuff, of just that. So it's a good item. It's a good
Yeah.
add-on item and something that kind of makes us a little different. So then what we did is we concentrated on the top, and what I did is I wanted to bring the top sellers for you guys. So of course, the patties or the turnovers, empanadas, empanadillas in Puerto Rico and other places, right? So bottom line is we have them in all the flavors, all the classic flavors, which is, main ones are always gonna be beef and chicken, okay? And we have that in, the retail box, okay? Which is 2 per box, 2 to 4, depending on the package that we have, all right? But we have actually variation of this, which is very popular. So for us Caribbean Hispanics, we grew up with is a fried item, right? So these are fried, okay? It's just warming up in the oven and ready to rock and roll, okay? But we also, one that is actually coming up with a lot of popularity is with the influx of South Americans into our country, Argentines, Chileans, and so on, right? The South Americans don't fry their empanadas, they bake them. So there's a perception of a healthier empanada, if there's such a thing. It's still flavorful, so I don't think the health values are very different. But from that perspective, we also do an Argentine style empanada. Again, both in chicken and in beef. And those are gonna be your top sellers in this area. If anybody, if you guys wanna compete against Goya in a store,
Oh, yeah.
and Goya does not service your stores as well as they service the others, this line is your solution to Goya, okay? And by the way, we're better stocked, you guys, because of your
Significantly
service
cheaper.
level. Yeah, and then there's a value in comparison, okay, with all of the items that we're showing you, okay? So, empanadas. Now, this one is the Jamaican patty. Jamaican patty really, in the United States, is not only for Jamaicans, it's great, does great everywhere, okay? But it does really, really good in all of our Afro-American communities. So, as well, this is an item that you can't keep on the shelf, okay? Competition to this is Grace, which they're out of New York, and most likely heavily penetrated here, but again, a great item to battle Grace and some of the others. But Jamaican patties, they come in the mild flavor, they're spicier, they come in the mild flavor and the spicy flavor. So you have both, okay? Both great sellers on our line.
And just keep in the back of your mind, anything that you see here, we can do in a food service presentation.
That's right. That's right, thank you. Thank you, that's a great point. Then, of course, in here, this is more for the Caribbean, but another item that we get asked a lot for and doing extremely well is the tostones de pana. Does anybody know what, pana is?
Breadfruit.
Breadfruit. And breadfruit is this beautiful, there's a tall tree with this beautiful green fruit, okay, that you peel and you boil or you fry it like a tostone, okay? And it's a unique flavor. It's a little bit more bread-like, it's a starchy, That's the word I'm looking for. It's more starch taste in this, okay? But for the Caribbean stores on Focus, they know this fruit extremely well, okay? And it's a great selling item.
Jamaicans, Haitians, big time.
Puerto Ricans, Dominicans.
Anything in the Caribbean.
Yeah, yeah. So tostones de panas, one of the few people doing tostones de panas in the market as well. Sancocho blend. So again, this is not, sancocho is just a Hispanic word for a stew blend. It's the same ingredients that any ethnicity would use in a great stew or a great soup. It's a soup base. And, you know, one of the things that we associate, especially, you know, immigrants from warmer climates, as soon as it starts to get a little cold, what is more comforting than a hot soup? Especially in this weather, right?
Yeah.
Up here. So a great item, okay, is a base for many, many dishes, whether you're doing chicken, beef, whatever, okay, soups or stews, but sancocho is a great seller for us. And again, to David's point, these are the type of items that if you have, you know, a restaurant route and you need a bigger packaging and so on. Now, mind you that, you know, as we're post-pandemic, because of labor, right, restaurants are focusing more on retail packs, which is interesting, right, because of portion control and waste. So don't be afraid to talk to them about a 1 pound bag if you have a restaurant route or something like that. Okay, but sancocho, another great one. Sofrito, I make my own, so I don't usually buy it, I make it every Sunday. But sofrito is the blend, okay? So I don't ever have walked into a Hispanic household that has that aroma when it hits you when you walk through the door they're cooking. This is what it is. It's that onion, pepper, diced pepper mix, okay? It is the basis for everything, from frijoles, habichuelas, however, you know, beans to, you know, rice. We put it on everything, okay? So sofrito is a top seller, okay, in our line. And then we move on to some more of the snack items, okay? Croquettes have become extremely popular everywhere, okay? So croquettes, what are croquettes? Croquettes come from Spain, really popularized by Cuban Americans, okay? They were really the ones when I moved to Florida 33 years ago, you know, and I'm aging myself here, but 33 years ago when I first arrived in Florida and from Wilmington, Delaware, I didn't know what a croquette looked like. And I went to a Cuban little ventanita, which is a window, and they serve you that beautiful coffee, and then I saw people eating these things for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. It's a snack, okay, with a little cracker, soda cracker, okay? And now it's popularized in just about every menu. So Mediterranean, European menus will offer croquettes. And what we did with our team and David was in part of this, you know, it was that we went to the best Cuban restaurants, found the best recipes, okay, and then went to our suppliers to recreate those recipes for us, okay. By the way, the great thing about the Mambo line, believe it or not, with the exception of a few items, is mainly 100%, around 90% domestic, okay? Meaning that those guys are producing right in our own backyard, okay? Miami is very rich with Hispanic suppliers and, you know, factories. So David and his team, myself, our salespeople, we're constantly going to the suppliers and giving them ideas on what to bring to market. So if you find anything interesting out there in this segment and you say you want us to take a look at it, let us know. Then this is actually very, very popular. There's a segment, the fastest growing population group in the Hispanic segment in the United States of America is Venezuelans, okay? And it's mainly like every other immigrant community due to political reasons. So their political trouble started back in the early 90s, right? So we saw a big influx of that community. So now that community is not only big in Florida, is, you know, is big in the Northeast, is big in Texas, and in other places, right? So they brought, like every migrant community does, great item with them, arepas. Arepas is nothing more than a cornbread, okay, with a mozzarella type cheese that is infused in it, okay, and blended. You warm that up, and it's like the best way to describe it is like a pancake, cheesy pancake type of thing. You know, not as sweet, right? But it is absolutely delicious. Okay, quick to make. You know, again, I'm the father of five young men now, or young men now,
We're all
and
giants.
all these items are, you know, they're great for late night gaming. They're the first thing they go, the outside refrigerator. We don't have basements in Florida, so they go to the garage. They open the garage refrigerator, and all of these items are great snacking items as well.
And it's really good for like after school in the summer. They get really popular because it's a quick thing to make for your kids.
Right.
Pop it in the air fryer, in the oven, or the microwave. It takes 30 seconds and it's done.
Pequeños, for lack of a better term, this is an oven. You know, it's a cheese stick with bread. Okay, it's not fried. That's what snacking item as well. Chiquita already told you, you know, it is actually a licensing agreement. We picked Chiquita because Chiquita, believe it or not, 97% of the American households know the brand, okay? Or 92% of the households have a Chiquita item in their pantry, okay? Meaning that they probably have bananas. For us, that was very important. So we started a program with frozen fruit, okay, with a great partnership that we have, which again, David manages, with a Chilean company, okay? We don't have stake in the company, but it is an exclusive partnership that we built with them. Comfruit Chile, okay, which is now Comfruit Global, right, is a company that, if you know, just a brief, all you need to know about fruit is the following. Fruit comes from two hemispheres. So we have summer here. When it's summer here, in South America, it's wintertime, and vice versa, okay? So in order to keep fruit flowing into this country, you have to buy either from the United States and Canada, or you have to buy from Mexico south all the way to Chile, okay? So with that said, at that time we felt, okay, let's strike this partnership with Chile, with Comfruit. So you know, we know a lot about this category. Public Supermarkets has about now 1,300 stores, and we are their private label supplier for the entire frozen fruit portfolio. We know more about fruit than
Than I wish I did.
Yeah. And you know, his sole job, he travels down to Chile about 2 to 3 times a year, okay? The Chilean company now has an office and warehouse and manufacturing here in the United States as well, okay? So fruit is a very strong part of our portfolio. What we did is we took the best sellers and we put them into the Chiquita bag, and the best sellers are going to be the normal ones. You're going to have strawberries, you're going to have blueberries, you're going to have pineapple chunks, you're going to have mango, you're going to have a berry blend and a tropical blend. And that's it, okay? In 2 different sizes. It's very easy. 1 pound bag and a 2.5 pound bag. It's a very easy category to understand. What it gives you is the ability to do is that, again, you guys, and I have seen with Steve when I travel with him, I'll probably see more today, is that you guys are great at getting the door, right? Hey, give me 2 shelves of that space, and I want to be the guy who comes in every week and fills it up. This gives you the opportunity to do that in that frozen fruit space as well, okay? And by the way, all those 6 items that I told you about, we got plenty of inventory right now. We can have introductory deals, you know, to get things going. So, you know, we can talk about that later, but that's something. So we're motivated to get into the stores at the moment, okay, with frozen fruit. A couple of things from a frozen fruit perspective. You would say about 80% of it comes from Chile, okay? So we have a lot of buying power out of that country, but we also source from now. With our help, they have expanded into Mexican production, in buying from different countries, and the facility in Plant City, which is near Tampa Bay, that they just built about a year ago. So throw it at us. This is a great, great item. High GP. You will see that once you guys price everything out. The reason why we build these categories, you may say, is because here, while it's not like beef, a commodity, right, there's a market rate for it, right? So, it's more what we call more margin sensitive. Where we really saw the value of these brands is that, what we call, I don't know if you guys track it this way, but gross profit per pound, right? So gross profit per pound for us, GPPPP, is higher in seafood and in retail, okay? So you'll see great margins out of that for yourself. Let us know, and we're ready. We're really motivated to get that business going with the frozen fruit. And again, this is another one, Billy, that if you want to grab a couple plates and put, because in the frost, the taste is beautiful. You can, product is ready to eat. Okay. With that said, we have the top selling Hispanic frozen vegetables in the Chiquita line because of brand recognition. Okay. Then you take some of the berry blends and mangoes and pineapple, I suggest. Yeah. So, tostones, again, we talked about, you've heard me use that word a lot. Caribbean Hispanics put this plantain on as a side dish, just like Americans put potatoes as a side dish in many different forms. One of the things that you look for is what we call, is that sour, sweet taste in our foods. So what we like to do is you take a rice, which is, a main starch, and then you put some kind of protein, right? And there's always, I grew up seeing my dear grandfather, may he rest in peace, down in Puerto Rico, always would put banana, and then he would cut it up and eat it with his rice and beans and his protein, because it gives a little sweetness to the taste, right? So, with that said, tostones are a big part.
Yeah, it doesn't look like that.
No. But I defrosted, so there was temperature abuse with that.
Yeah.
So anyways, tostones are #1 seller, okay, for Chiquita in this category. Then you have the... So tostones come into, and I was hearing some of your questions, in 2 sizes. The most popular size, but harder to guess, is Hawaiianos.
Yeah.
And why? But they're just a bigger, it's a bigger tostone. Okay? We call this more of a food service, very popular for restaurants. Restaurants like to make that nice presentation and bigger, so that's what the Hawaiian is. Okay? And then this is your just regular size tostone that you probably make in your own kitchen, or you've seen somebody make in their own kitchen. Both of them very, very popular. Hawaiian is a little bit harder to get, so when we have them, sell the crap out of them, because we may not get them for a little bit.
So what's probably gonna happen is the market on those right now is extremely tight. But we've been working with a guy in Ecuador for the better part of 2 or 3 decades, so we're really well stocked. I'm getting calls from Gordon Food Service, from Jetro, from Cisco, from all sorts of people asking us for this product. But we're in a position to still be able to develop business. So when you guys walk stores and say that you have access to this, people are gonna ask you for a pallet or, give me container pricing, you'll be surprised. So with that, just keep us in mind, and we'll guide you through that process, and make sure we build sustainable business, for sure.
Then last but not least, yuca, cassava, right? Another main item with nice garlic, with onions, yuca. So you boil this. The presentation is mainly boiled, okay? Then after that, you do a little saute with garlic and olive oil and onions, and you put that together and let it simmer, and it's an incredible tasting side dish. I know I'm partial to it, but if you guys ever do something like around Hispanic Heritage Month in September, October, you can take me on this offer. I'll come out with our team and we'll cook these items for you with some proteins you know, and have a little luncheon for you guys, so you guys can get some of that real nice flavor, you know. We love to cook as well, so take us up on it. All right, so any questions with Chiquita or any of the items? You know, I know the fruit doesn't look great, but it didn't travel well, let's put it that way.
Like dry ice.
Yeah, it's the dry ice
This
we had
looks
to
good,
use. But it's beautiful fruit, you know, we can provide you also pictures of production and all that kind of stuff.